With Big Ankalaev as champion, Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree Jr. could be a fight with serious title implications. We also have a fire co-main event when Rafael Fiziev squares up against the scintillating prospect of Ignacio Bahamondes. This is your UFC Baku preview show, and it's coming up next on Fighting with Friends. Welcome back to Fighting with Friends and still the undisputed African Fighting Podcast champion of the world. UFC Fight Night Hill versus Rountree Jr. takes place this Saturday, 21st of June at 9 p.m. South African time. Breaking down the card of his reigning defending undisputed vegan champion of the world is, of course, Brother Gaia.
What's up, AD?
Gaia.
UFC Baku? UFC Baku? Here we go.
UFC Mop the Babo. But yeah, it is UFC Baku BG. As always, we start.
At the top of the card, where it's
All
fire.
right. Here we go. At the top of the card, we have our main event. It's Khalil Rountree Jr., number 7 ranked. Light heavyweight who is 14-6-0, 10 wins by KO, 7 first round finishes. Last time out, he lost to Alex Pereira, but it was on a 5-fight streak before that, coming up against the number 4 ranked light heavyweight fighter, Jamahal Hill. 12-3-0, 7 wins by KO, 4 first round finishes. He's on a 2-fight slide. Last time out, he lost to Jiri by round 3 KO there. And what a KO that was. But anyway, it's Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree. BG, what you got for us here, bro?
Battle of the Brothers. Nah, I'm hyped, bro. I'm hyped, to be honest. This fight, when they announced it the first time, I was like, oh, this is a sick fight, dude. But it didn't happen, obviously, because of Jamal's injury. But here we have the fight now this weekend, and both guys are healthy. They both look like they had a really good training camp. And I think it's a good main event. It could be a main event for any card, really. That's how good these two guys really are. And I think we're gonna get a firefight in this one. Because purely because of the styles of the two athletes, right? They both love to stand. It's not often that we see that any of these guys really go to the ground. It's a rarity when it comes to their career, which means we're gonna get a fight on the feet. And when that's the case, I think the more polished, the more polished sort of precision-like striker favors Khalil. I think he's the more polished striker there. But he is shorter. The length is slightly, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in Jamal's favor in terms of the reach advantage. And Jamal does know how to fight with that reach advantage. It's just a matter of now what how is Jamal going to navigate through the kicks of Khalil. Khalil's kicks is brilliant if you think about how he chops the leg. He does bring in that Muay Thai style, and a little bit of the US boxing hybrid style that he has, which really made for a good fight against Alex Pereira. Speaking of that fight, I think the way the performance went for Khalil Rountree in that fight does definitely give him confidence going into this fight because he lasted longer. He took Pereira to 4 rounds instead of just getting knocked out in the first round, as opposed to Jamal Hill. That doesn't mean I'm throwing shade on Jamal. I still am a fan. I still think he's a dog. I still think he can put up great fights in the top of this division. And I mean, it's not like he's out of the title contention, right? I mean, like a win over Khalil Rountree will solidify his status in that top 3 and top 4, and maybe go for another title run. And I think Khalil Rountree, the same can be said for him as well. If he wins here, I definitely think he jumps out of that 7th ranking and goes up the ranking as well. Um, I think a knockout's going to happen. I don't think we're going to go to 5 rounds in this fight. Um, I think Jamal's last few performances doesn't really show what killer instinct he was like, because before the injury, he was on a win streak as well in that division, and he was taking out some top names. And then he obviously now went on that back-to-back losses with Khalil Rountree. Only now started entering that championship status and fighting at this high level game, training with Jonathan Agady. I think he's at the right space, and between the two athletes, I think Khalil Rountree has a better opportunity to actually go and get that title again. Whereas Jamal, I think what's making it a bit more difficult for him is not only the back-to-back losses, but also the current status of where he's at in his career. It's almost like he can feel that the fans are feeling that he's maybe not going to reach that goal, as opposed to where Khalil is like, you're now reaching that echelon. You should be boosting from here. You know what I mean? Even though he had an opportunity, I still think that, me personally, I think both guys still have that same kind of opportunity, but I think Khalil has a little bit of a bigger fire at this current moment in time. But I mean, and on the day, anything can happen, right? Anything can really happen. I've seen Khalil get get beaten up before. Um, but this is gonna be a fireworks, dude. This one's gonna be a barn burner for sure. And I think if it's gonna be a stoppage, it's gonna be the third or fourth round. And I'm
Mm,
probably tipping it towards Khalil Rountree purely because he's able to give Jamal more things to think about on the feet than just straight up boxing. Not that Khalil can't, not that,
yeah.
that Jamal can't kick. Like we've seen him throw kicks before, but it's not the same kind of pedigree that Khalil throws kicks at.
Yeah, nah, I don't rate his kicking game at all. Now, honestly, I don't, bro. I don't think. I think he should just rather stick to boxing because his kicks are weak,
Mm.
bro. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's just my opinion. Let us know in the comments your thoughts. Is Jamal Hill a kicker?
What's
But
your
yeah,
thoughts?
yeah, but I was gonna get to it, and just honestly, I think maybe I'm wrong here, but I feel like Khalil Rountree Jr. is miles ahead of Jamal Hill, bro. Like I
What do you
just
bet?
think of diversity of attacks, like you said, he's giving him more to think about. Um, he's just got a lot more weapons and a lot more ways to win than Jamal
Yeah.
Hill. Jamal Hill has one way to win. He's got to be good with his hands, and he's got his head movement's got to be a lot better here. But yeah, I just think if you look, if it's MMA, Jamal
Mm.
Hill
Mm.
has a great advantage here. And I'm looking at Jamal Hill's run leading up to his last two losses, and honestly, bro, like the level of competition here is not
Yes.
like anything special. I mean, Glover was on his way out when Jamal Hill beat him for the title there.
Yeah.
Same can be said maybe about Santos even. Johnny Walker, we know, is perennially inconsistent, and you never know what you're
Yeah.
gonna get. Jimmy Crute is a bum, and he lost to Paul Craig, bro. So I
Mm.
I
Yeah.
know he
Watch that.
was on a streak, but like I just don't feel like that streak is indicative of his level.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
I feel like, yeah, and I feel like Khalil's, especially with his performance against Alex, he showed a lot more that he actually belongs amongst that upper echelon of the light heavyweight
Yes.
division. So for me,
Yes.
again, like you, I think it's gonna be a finish and give me Khalil Rountree early in the fight,
Good.
but I'm looking at like the second
Early.
round. Yeah, first to second
Okay.
round TKO for me. I think it's gonna be quite resounding, but yeah. That again is just my opinion. BG, I'm gonna go to any other thoughts you have while I pull up some numbers on the fight here.
Sure. 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 Yeah. I was gonna say what's making me go with Khalil a little bit more to add to why I'm going with him. I've watched his come up, right? And I've also watched Jamal's come up. And Khalil is definitely the more polished and grown athlete between the two guys. Jamal, he's a killer, right? He can stand and bang, he can knock you out. He's got some vicious power in his hands, right? But when he fought against the top guys, he really did kind of get exposed in the sense of like there is levels to it that you don't actually have. I mean, Jiri was in the matrix against him, making him
Yeah,
miss and hit air,
yeah.
right? Alex Pereira freaked him within like 40 seconds. And then we have Khalil Rountree, where you used to be this straight up brawler, gangster ass, just hard hitting mofo,
Scary
right?
dude, bro.
Scary dude. But when they would take him down, he would, and when they would wrestle with him, they would decision him. They would take him to a decision,
Mm,
he loses, right? Now he's gotten to the point where he's not just letting those heavy hands go. He's way more precise with it. He's selective with his shots, which is making him a lot more dangerous. And indication to me that he leveled up his career. He leveled up his game, and that's probably why I think between the two guys, the one athlete really did attempt to go a little bit further and did, and the other one kind of like stagnated after getting that title.
mm.
And it's kind of stuck there now, and that's Jamal. But okay, this fight still needs to happen, and on the night anything can happen. But I just think Khalil's a little bit too well polished at this point.
Yeah, agreed. And I also think that point you made about the Prohaska fight. I think as much as it was a good fight, I do think Prohaska was like miles ahead of
Mm,
Jamal
mm,
Hill in that fight, bro. Like just like you said, he was in the matrix. And maybe not because he was that good on the night, but just because Jamal Hill isn't on that level. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Not
Jamal
taking
couldn't
anything
catch
away
him.
from Jiri, but yeah, it could also be because of Jamal. And I think after the Saturday, we're gonna know for sure, is
Mm,
Jamal Hill
mm,
actually legit, or is he just a flash in the pan?
yeah.
So yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Just on some numbers here, we can see that Khalil Rountree Jr. is a slight favorite. So Jamal Hill possibly
Yo,
good value if you are betting
yo.
this weekend. Remember to gamble responsibly. But all right, PG, we will move to the lightweight division. Excuse me, from the light
Yes.
heavyweight division. Here we have an absolute firecracker. We are super excited for this one. I think, as far as matchmaking goes, this is a sterling job here by the UFC.
Mm,
We have Rafael Fiziev, the number 11 ranked lightweight. Record is
yeah.
11-4-0. Got 8 wins by KO. He's got six first round finishes, but he is on a 3 fight slide. He lost to Justin Gaethje. Two of those fights. Who was the other one? Do you know?
Yeah, he lost to Mateusz Gamrot.
Mateus Gamrot. Okay, there we go. So Mateus Gamrot, we can just confirm that there. Yeah, Mateus Gamrot. So yeah, he lost to Mateus Gamrot there, but yeah, he's coming up against Ignacio Bahamondes, and this guy's been on an absolute tear in the UFC on a 3 fight streak. Last time out, he beat Jalen Turner by first round sub. He is 17-5-0, and he's got 11 of those wins by KO. So BG, super excited
So
for this one on my side. I
yeah.
can only assume you are too. How do you think this one's gonna play out, bro?
Yeah, dude, the moment I saw this matchup on the card, I was like, whoa, I am hyped, super hyped. But Rafa Poziv is a dangerous opponent for anybody in the lightweight division. Granted, his wrestling isn't the greatest, but I mean, the way that he strikes, the way that he moves, it's a problem for anybody. It's hard to track down, it's hard to navigate. And Justin Gaethje had to go back to very basic fundamental boxing to beat him because you can't catch him. He's just way too intense. The way that he kicks, it's a different level. And I think Bahamondes, this is definitely going to be his toughest test in this lightweight division. Um, I know he went against Jalen Turner, but that was a different fight to talk about. This time, Faziev got on a 3 fight losing streak. He's definitely wanted to get back into that top five, right? He wanted to go gets back to
Mm,
that title contention. I think he's going to go into this fight as as good as he always been, right? He's never really even the fights that he did lose. Not like Faziev was shit in those fights, right? Let's get real. He was in tough fights and he put in very good performances in all those fights. He's a gamer. That's what you're gonna get. Muniz is gonna have to really keep his wits about him in this one. Utilize his range. The one thing about Mundes was he was actually even getting a little bit pieced up by Jalen Turner before he went down to the ground and got that submission. So that indicated to me that Mundes can, even though he's got good striking, I think his striking is brilliant. He's got some really good striking. Um, but now he's going up against someone who I think is better than him in striking. So now it's like, what are we going this is the fight I want to see. This is the fight that will make me a big fan of Muniz if he gets through this one. Because I think he's
mm,
going up against a fighter who can freak him. I think Faziev can beat him in a very easy fashion.
mm.
It's just a matter of how Faziev is going to navigate when Bahamondes mix up that takedowns with the jiu-jitsu because he does that. He's very elusive in doing that. Very good fighter. And now he's training with Bilal's team, which is heavy wrestling, right? Very wrestling heavy. That's also adding to Bahamondes' confidence because now he's not afraid
Yeah.
to be taken down or take someone down. He can do that at will now. That's making him really become this phenomenal potential, this prospect. And I think fighting for Zeev is the exact time in his career and for Zeev's career. It's like a make or break fight for both guys. Because for Zeev, it's like you can't lose to this guy now. You know what I mean? Like you need to
Yeah.
win to stay in that top tier. And for Muniz, it's like this is the top tier guy. He went toe to toe Justin Gaethje twice. Was basically ranked number one, I think 102.
Mm.
The
I
Charles
think
is
he's
ranked
not.
number two.
Yeah.
He's number one, right? So it's like you fighting against someone who's been there in the top five. It's a big test for Bahamundis. So I think, yeah, that's why I think I'm hyped because the stakes are quite high for this fight in particular. So I'm very hyped that it's a co-main event. I'm hyped that it's on the card as well because the card needed some of that high potential kind of talent for this
Mm.
fight card in particular. So I'm very hyped for that one. In terms of a winner, I want Bahamundis to win. But I think this is going to be a very tough test for him. So I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle for him to get that dub.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, no, you make some really good points there, BG. I didn't really consider the striking. I mean, of course, you consider the striking, but I didn't really actually ask myself the question of who is the better striker because both of these guys are absolutely phenomenal on the feet. And you
Yeah.
just mentioned now that you rate Fiziev as the better striker.
Mhm.
I'd be very interested to hear the viewers' thoughts on that one if you agree with BG there, because I'm not. I don't disagree with the statement, but
Mm,
I think maybe recency bias is just leaning towards
mm,
Bahamondes, but just because he's had so many flash, spectacular knockouts, and
mm,
he's just been very easy on the eye. And I think Fiziev having such a long layoff. Um,
mm.
I might have forgotten a little bit about how good he actually is on the feet. But having said that, he did go toe to toe with Justin Gaethje twice, like you said.
Yeah.
And just on that point, Gaethje is ranked at number 3 in the lightweight
3.
division.
Who's
So
number
yeah,
1? Ilya.
um,
No.
I'll just have to double check that. I know Charles is number 1, I think.
Oh, Arman Tsarukyan, I think.
Armand is number 2. Yeah, no, actually, yeah. So it's Armand Sarukian at number 1, Charles at
There we
2,
go.
Gaethje at 3. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
I thought so.
Um,
Just another point about Fiziev, why I think the striking's a little bit better, right? Bahamondes striking is very good to watch. And like you mentioned, I like that you use the word flashy because it is exactly that, right? It's very flashy kind of movements, but it doesn't. Those flashy kind of movements can knock you out, right? But if you get it figured out, it's a lot of movement that you have to use to make those flashy things right. It's not really fundamentally jabbing you one into a two. Whereas Fiziev, his striking is very much um textbook. It's very textbook. Like it's blah, blah, blah,
mm,
and it comes back into stance. And he's not wasting any sort of movements. Kicks are so fast. However, he's so muscle bound. In every fight that I've watched for Zeev, whether he's winning or losing, he does tank in that third round. It does get a little bit. You see him slow down quite significantly. And if you do what Justin Gaethje did, and you use boxing fundamentals on him, you can get him annoyed, and he will swing hard stuff. And that's when he starts bursting a lot of energy. And that's when he gets really tired in that third round. But I think for Zeev's striking is for me he packs more power, and the way that he uses it, it's a lot of torque and velocity in there, and I think that makes him a little bit more devastating in the striking department. Bahamondes is so
mm.
flashy, but Bahamondes' flashiness puts him in a position where he can be counted. Jalen Turner was actually landing on him and then forced the takedown, and that's where the fight got a little bit wild. But when they were on the
Mm.
feet, Jalen Turner was actually getting Bahamondes backed up and making him rethink about how he actually wants to throw those weird, flashy kind of movements. So it's yeah, that's why I think that the striking is a little bit in Faziv's favor, but it's a very fascinating, intriguing matchup. It's making my mind tingle. And I'm really looking forward to it. Really am looking forward to it.
Fair play, BG. Again, some excellent points there. Gonna go to some numbers, and Bam Winde a slight favorite in this one.
Woo!
And then we can look at the numbers for it to go the distance, which is also marginal here.
Yeah.
So BG, for you, who's winning, and is it going the distance?
You see, now, when it goes to distance, I don't favor Faziev. I think Bahamondes wins the fight on going the distance because Bahamondes might utilize some takedowns, he might utilize some grappling, some clinch work, and that's going to favor him a lot when it goes to the distance. If it doesn't go the distance, I think Faziev wins the fight. It's hard to put that dude away. Gaethje cracked him a few times, and that man took head
Mm.
kicks and overhands and all sorts of stuff, and he didn't even get rocked. He was just slightly dizzy, but he walked through all that stuff. So I think it's hard to put him away, and that's why I think if it goes to decision, Bahamondes, if the ease of finish, I think it's going to be Rafael Fiziev because I've seen Bahamondes take some terrible shots before. So I'm going to go with what I want, and that's Ignacio Bahamondes. But something's just telling me that Fiziev, we can't. People forget, man.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. And like you said, if he loses this fight, his career is very much in jeopardy in the UFC.
You
So
see.
yeah, there's a lot at stake there again. But
And
yeah,
sorry, last point, last point.
mm,
Sorry, AD,
please,
last
yeah.
point. Fiziev also took that second fight against Gaethje short notice. People also forget that. It wasn't the full camp for Fiziev in that second fight. And he still went toe to toe with him.
Yeah, well, there you go. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let us know your thoughts in the comments who you got for this one and why. But okay, then we can keep moving now, and we go to the heaviest BG. Some big boys here. We got our guy Curtis Blades,
Yes,
number
yeah.
5 ranked heavyweight. Sorry,
Uh-huh,
18
uh-huh.
5 and 0. He has 3 first round finishes, but the last time he lost to the current interim champ, Tom Aspinall, by first round KO. He's coming up against Rizvan Kuniev, who is 12 2 and 1. He's got 6 wins by KO, 2 wins by sub 4 first round finishes, and he comes from the Dana White Contender Series, where he won both of his fights by stoppage. A producer giving me some fantastic intel here into Rizvan Kuniev. So BG, what can you
Mm,
tell us here about this man? Relatively unknown for the average or more casual fan.
true.
How do you see this one playing out here, bro?
Yeah, look, I think it speaks volumes for what the UFC is doing for well, in terms of this athlete, in terms of Rizvan, right? Because he was twice on the contender series. This is his debut fight on the organization now. I think he may be a contacted fighter, 2 stoppages, and placed third from top on the fight card, that means he really has done something that's made the UFC or Dynamite go, let's put this guy on a not the pay per view, but let's put him on the main card of an event as his debut fight, by the way, against a number 5 ranked Curtis Blaydes. So that tells me that it's not like just anybody that Curtis Blaydes is fighting. It must be someone that UFC thinks could actually give Curtis Blaydes some tough time. But I consider that Curtis Blaydes' losses in the UFC was to knockouts, knockdowns. He lost against guys who could beat him in the hands, because Curtis Blaydes, first and foremost, he's a wrestler. Right? That's his bread and butter. Take you down, smash you. That's Curtis Blaydes. Jab here and there, throw some heavy hands here and there, but not really the best polished boxer in the UFC. But when he takes you down, his man's a gorilla, and he'll punish you on the ground, right? So I think, speaking on that, we also have to give kudos for Curtis Blaydes to take this fight, right? He could easily have waited and maybe taken Volkov again. Did he fight Volkov again? No, he didn't fight Volkov. He could have
Aye.
taken that fight. You know what I mean? Because Volkov lost against Cyril Gane, so you could have said, give me Volkov. I want to get back into that title shot. I want Tom Aspinall for a third time. You know what I'm saying? He could be doing that, but instead he's taking on someone that isn't even ranked. It's his debut fight in the organization. So what that indicates to me is that UFC thinks that Razman can beat Curtis Blaydes. Curtis Blaydes is taking the fight because he doesn't want to be inactive. He doesn't want to wait. He's getting older. He wants to have another title run. So he's taking whatever fight he can, which I think he shouldn't have. I think he should have taken on Volkov. But anyway, we're here now. So I'm not going to give a detailed breakdown on how I think the fight's going to play, just because I haven't watched the fights that Rizvan had in the Dynamite Contender Series. I don't watch the Dynamite Contender Series. But Curtis Blaydes is a dog, and we've seen him fight. We've seen what he's all about, and he's top tier for a reason in that heavyweight division. We know that he can elbow, he can kick you, he can take you down, he can do some devastating stuff. So I hope he wins. And I hope that he can get a shot against the guys that's above him. I don't like this whole taking on people outside of the rankings when you're top 5, unless this guy is of a fight caliber where if he wins Curtis Blaydes, beats Curtis Blaydes, the UFC says, all right, put him in the top 5. Let's give this guy a title shot next. And that can happen in the heavyweight division. That is really, at the moment, we don't know what it is. We don't know what else going on in that division, right? So
It's shit,
that
bro.
that
It's
it's
let's be honest. It's quite shit. I mean, compared
yeah,
to the years gone by of the light heavyweight division, this is trash, bro.
the heavyweight division. You mean? Yeah,
Oh,
it's
oh, the heavyweight. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
yeah. It is very much the worst it's been ever in the organization of the UFC. So yeah, I just want Curtis Blaydes to go out there and smash it, and so he can call out someone above him, and we can get that division spicy again. Maybe this man goes in there and lands a devastating first round finish, and then we go, oh shit, this man is actually something intense, you know. But
Hmm.
I'll reserve my opinion for on the night.
Yeah, yeah. The bookies seem to think that Kurt's Blades is gonna get this one done quite comfortably. So yeah,
Oh.
but we'll see how it goes. I also haven't seen too much from Rizwan, so yeah, very excited to see him though, and hopefully he can put on some kind of a
Mm.
performance to get our lips flapping and fighting with friends. But we'll
He's
see.
he's two finishes in Dynamite continues what TKOs. So he's a striker first and foremost. It looks like.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, we can reserve our judgment for that one. But yeah, hoping to see a show from the man. But yeah, BG, do you have any final thoughts on this one before we move on?
Now we can move on.
All right, we'll move on then, and here we go to another lightweight bout. We have Tofik Musayev,
Mm.
who is 22-5-0. He's coming up against Miktibek Orolbai, who is 13-2
Mm.
and 1. I believe are both of these guys making their debuts here?
No, I think Tofik is making his debut, but
Oh yeah, it says
apparently
debut. Yeah.
he's got like a good record apparently, and he's been doing the things.
Hmm.
But Orolbai, we've seen him fight. I think we did a live last year for that fight against actually his last fight. Let me just I think that was the one we did. I think that was the Macau card, if I'm not mistaken.
Could have been, yeah.
Oh no, it was Holloway versus Ilya Taporia. So we
Okay.
watched that. It was a mad fight, man. Where Oaks were just bloodied up, and Orolbai was just walking through the weirdest stuff. Even though he lost that fight, he was just putting on a massive show of just bloodiness and not showing any sort of when he was taking the beating, he was getting busted up and stuff, but he wasn't getting rocked. He was just walking through all this man stuff, just powering through and left the audiences in awe. So and also I think this is actually a late addition to the fight card. When I
Okay.
was putting my notes together for this fight card, this fight wasn't on the card until I saw it earlier today. So yeah, don't have much on Tofik, but I think when I was listening to John Anik and Ken Flo's podcast, they were hyping up this fight in particular. I think this is going to be a fight that could potentially steal the show. So going off that, they obviously have got some. They obviously got information that we don't have because they work for the freaking company. So yeah, I think I will definitely keep tabs on that. If John Anik's hyping up the fight, I'm keeping tabs on it for sure.
For sure. And yeah, maybe let us know in the comments your thoughts on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Um, are John Anik and the boys right, or is this one worth skipping? But yeah, okay, then we'll keep moving and we'll go to another lightweight bout. Quite a few lightweight bouts on this card. We have Nazim Sadykhov, who is 10-1-1. He has 7 wins by KO, 2 wins by sub, four first round finishes.
Mhm.
Last time out, he beat Ismail Bonfim by TKO doctor stoppage. He's coming up against Nicolas Motta, who is 15-5-0, 10 wins by KO, 8 round finishes on a 2 fight streak. Last time out, beating Maheshate by unanimous decision. So, BG, over
Mm.
to you, bro. Not much that I can say here, to be honest. So, what's
Yeah.
on your mind here, bro?
There should be a bit of a good fight as well. Um, I think the striking is definitely in Nicholas' favor. Nicholas Motta is a good striker. I mean, he had a little bit of a tough run in the UFC. It wasn't really the most cleanest. There was a no contest. There was an overturned event. He fought Jim Miller. He lost that fight. He fought Torres, Miguel Torres, Aloco. Aloco freaked him in the first round. But okay, in his last 2 fights, he was coming back to his mind of showing a little bit of the striking that he does have. I still don't think he's really anything to worry about in the lightweight division. In the fight against Nazim, who I think has the better pedigree in terms of how like his boxing is really good. I mean, that fight against Bonfim was really good because Bonfim is not a he's not a play guy. The guy's got some heavy hands, and Nazim was just by far making Bonfim look silly, making him miss, piecing him up in and out movements. I was like, oh, look at Nazim, which I thought was a bit more of a wrestler rather than a striker. Strike really well in that fight. He even fought against Dennis McKinney, and he beat Dennis McKinney in the second round as well. So my dude is really good, and I think Nazim is going to win this fight. I think he's going to utilize the reach advantage. I mean, the range, the leg, the height. He's gonna utilize the movement. The footwork is there, and I think he's going to have Motta missing because Motta doesn't really set up a lot of his strikes that well. He walks you down, throws some jab, but then the 1-2 goes, and then once he's in the range, he throws some hard swinging punches. Where Nazim isn't like that. Nazim is more selective and a little bit more precise about how he goes. So I think Nazim is going to win the fight. Possibly even get the finish as well. And I would probably think round 2 finish. Maybe even round 1. He might go in there and just put on a. But I think it's going to be either round 1 or round 2 finish in this fight.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. BG giving you the insight into the final bout. Yo, my voice is messed up today. Sorry, BG giving you the insight into the final bout on the main card. As you can see, Nazim Sadykhov. The bookies are agreeing with BG there.
Oh,
Solid
they are.
favorite. I think this might be Motta might be the biggest dog on the main card here actually. But okay, BG, that is like I said, the last fight on the main card. I don't have anything nice from our producers here about
Go
the.
up. There's one
Oh,
more
we've got
fight. Yeah,
one more fight. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. I didn't put notes for this one together just because it's not much to go off. I mean, what's his name? Muhammad Naimov had a couple of fights in the UFC. Fought against Khan Offley in his last one. He won that fight unanimous decision. Um, I think he only has how many 4 fights in the UFC? Oh no, he's got quite a few. He fought against Nathaniel Hood, beat Nathaniel Hood. A lot of the fights are like safe wrestling. Doesn't really do anything that's really go. Oh wow, oh shit, who the hell is this guy? He just beats you in a way that it's like he can nullify you and beat you in rounds and get a nice clean decision. Bogdan on the other hand wants to go in there and bang. He wants to take you down, smash you, put a beat down on you. You can see he's a kind of a killer kind of athlete, but sometimes he gives up rounds too much for me, and I think he might just get taken down here and out wrestled in this fight. And I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to lose the fight on decision.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. And now that does round out our main card, BG. So talk to me about prelims now. Didn't
um,
see any notes. I did see one note, but it said that it's terrible. That's the only thing I heard about the prelims.
yeah, dude, really, AD, in terms of this prelims, there isn't much. I mean, I'm keen to see Oban Elliott fight. If I'm being honest, I hear that the TNT boys talk a lot about Oban Elliott, so I'm keen to see what he's all
Mhm.
about. Ju Young Park, not too bad of an athlete, Ninja Turtle guy. Was keen to see what he's all about. The ladies below that, I think that's a rematch. No, it's not a rematch. I don't think it's a rematch, but yeah, don't know much about them, but they on the card. A lot of this card is very sparse in terms of like who's going down. The only fighter I really know in the prelims that I've seen fight before is Muhammad Usman. I've watched him in the Ultimate Fighter, watched him take that tournament down. Now he's here. Yeah, let's see what it's all about.
Yeah, Muhammad Usman, of course, the brother of Kamaru Usman, for anyone who
Mhm.
didn't know. Kamaru Usman, of course, beating Johan Buckley.
Yeah,
Damn,
gotta love
damn.
it.
Gotta get out of here. Okay,
Yeah.
so BG, we will, as always, go to some final thoughts and a pre-fight rating for the card, please. Sir.
Pre-fight rating for the card. Um, Look, I must say the main and co-main really like s- piqued my interest for the fight card. It's what's making me want to watch the fight card. Right?
Mhm.
If they weren't on the fight card, I probably would have skipped this whole fight card. But because we got the co-main and main who they are, I'm really hyped for it, and that's making me give the rating a solid 6 or I'll say 5. 5. It could be obviously,
Yeah.
like I said off camera before we started the recording. I was saying this could be the fight card where we could get bangers, dude. It could be bangers from the beginning, and um, yeah, let's see what happens come this weekend. I mean, we'll be doing a live with it, so I think it's a decent time for us to do a live with it. It's in the start time.
Yeah, I think 5 is a fair score, and yeah, only because of the main and the co-main. There's nothing else contributing to that score.
Yeah.
They could just broadcast those two fights, to be honest, and it'd be like it would still be a 5 in my book. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
that's kind of where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, if you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, all good things, more content coming so you can watch the podcast every day. Anyway, myself, Brother Gaia, Brother Babu, Jedi Knight, all of us here at Fighting Friends, have a wonderful day, and we'll be back tomorrow with your UFC news. Cheers, everybody.